slightly slewed things, in as much as it's hard to spend as much time with the Queen than we would like to. We've been trying to, but of course it's still not that easy.
When Sophie finally broke her silence after years of quiet loyalty to the royal family, no one expected what she was about to reveal. Known for her discretion and close bond with Queen Elizabeth, Sophie is now said to have spoken about the Queen's final private letter and its unexpected reference to Camilla. What first sounded like a rumor is now stirring serious debate, as more details emerge from behind palace walls. But what exactly did Sophie reveal, and why has it reopened one of the most sensitive chapters in royal history? So, what do you think? Were Queen Elizabeth's final words about Camilla a message of support, or a warning that carried deeper meaning? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. To help us create more videos and uncover the latest royal drama, please subscribe. Sophie breaks silence. For more than 20 years, Sophie has been recognized as one of the quietest and most trusted members of the royal family. She consistently maintained a low profile, stayed away from public drama, avoided constant headlines, and rarely became involved in open disputes. While other members of the royal household often attracted attention, Sophie focused on a steadier role, working reliably behind the scenes with dedication and care. Within palace circles, she earned a strong reputation for loyalty, patience, and quiet strength. That silence has always been understood as strength rather than absence. Sophie was present during many important royal moments, trusted with sensitive responsibilities, and known for keeping private matters strictly confidential. People who worked closely with her consistently describe her as someone who listens carefully, speaks thoughtfully, and fully understands the importance of discretion in royal life. Because she has earned strong trust over many years, Sophie's voice is always listened to with real care and respect. Even when she speaks calmly and carefully, people see her as someone who chooses her words with clear purpose, not casual talk. Her long service in the royal family makes every statement she gives feel more meaningful and important. Her comments have been understood by observers as referencing deeper aspects of royal history, including reflections connected to the private correspondence of Queen Elizabeth II and discussions around the role of Camilla, Queen Consort, within the monarchy. While public focus often centers on these connections, Sophie's perspective is rooted in years of direct observation and lived experience within the royal environment. In this situation, her voice is seen as steady truth, not guesswork. Years of loyal service, close contact with major events, and her role in important royal moments have given her deep insight into how the institution really works. Because of this background, even her simple words often carry weight and are read with great meaning by many observers today. Over the years, Sophie's position has shown that influence in the monarchy is not always loud or obvious. It is often built quietly through trust, patience, restraint, and steady reliability over time. Her presence suggests that silence can carry real weight in royal life, especially where discretion matters most. This makes her role a reminder that strength in such institutions is not always seen, but deeply felt over long time. Ultimately, her reputation reflects a wider truth about royal life, that stability is often maintained not through public declarations, but through quiet individuals whose judgment and loyalty shape the foundation of the institution itself. In a rare moment, Sophie has broken her silence, revealing what was written in Queen Elizabeth's final letter concerning Camilla. But what did the Queen choose to say in her final written words? And why might her message have been directed specifically toward the current Queen Consort? Now let's uncover the quiet words that have sparked fresh questions about Camilla. Inside the Queen's final words, Sophie explained that the Queen's final letter was never intended to create mystery or fuel speculation. Instead, it was a private message written during the Queen's last days of reflection, calm in tone and clear in purpose. It carried a sense of duty rather than strong emotion, showing her steady mind even at the end. Sophie said this was simply the Queen's way of leaving quiet guidance behind others. She explained that letters like this inside the royal family are never simple notes. They are private records of careful thinking, written with great attention, and meant only for a few trusted people within the royal household. In this case, Sophie said the letter was not about emotion, but a final message of guidance, aimed at keeping the monarchy steady, balanced, and secure for the future, as she noted clearly. Naturally, such a revelation led to questions. Sophie noted that people often wonder what Queen Elizabeth II chose to say in her final written words, and who she felt needed to hear them most at that stage of her life. But she emphasized that the Queen's intention was never to create division or surprise. It was to reinforce continuity and responsibility. In her explanation, Sophie clarified that references connected to Camilla, Queen Consort, were not about personal judgment, but about role and duty within the institution. The Queen, she said, always viewed the monarchy through the lens of service, where individual positions mattered only in how they supported the stability of the crown. Across her long life, Queen Elizabeth was widely known for writing in a clear, careful, and controlled way. Sophie said the final message was no different, carrying no strong emotion or dramatic tone, only thoughtful words shaped by experience, duty, and a lifetime of thinking ahead that reflected wisdom and steady responsibility over time always. According to Sophie, this is what makes the letter significant. It was not written to shock or to reveal private conflict, but to quietly reaffirm values the Queen had lived by all her life: duty, discipline, respect for tradition, and protection of the institution above personal feeling. She added that the true meaning of the letter lies not in speculation, but in understanding the Queen's character. Every word she wrote, even in private, reflected a lifetime of service where clarity mattered more than emotion, and where decisions were guided by the needs of the monarchy rather than individual opinion. In Sophie's telling, the letter becomes less about hidden controversy and more about legacy. It stands as a final reminder of how Queen Elizabeth viewed her role: steady, thoughtful, and always focused on the continuity of the crown she served until the very end. Queen Elizabeth is said to have acknowledged Camilla's commitment to royal duty in a final letter, in a tone that was neither emotional nor dramatic. But how did Camilla rise within the monarchy to earn such recognition? And does this suggest she was more widely accepted than many once believed? Let's find out. Camilla's public rise. For many years, Camilla's position within the monarchy steadily strengthened and became firmly established. What was once surrounded by public controversy and debate gradually gave way to stability and recognition. Over time, she took on more official royal duties, appeared more frequently at state and ceremonial events, and became a consistent and dependable presence alongside King Charles. Eventually, she stood beside him as Queen Consort, marking her full and formal integration into royal life. From the outside, this change looked like a clear move toward acceptance. Her public role was now widely acknowledged, with more responsibilities added over time. She performed her duties with steady confidence, calm presence, and strong consistency. To many observers, it seemed the earlier tensions had finally been resolved, and a new chapter in royal life was now firmly beginning with renewed stability and quiet confidence across the institution overall. Within the structure of the monarchy, however, acceptance is not measured in only one way. Alongside public recognition and official titles, there is also the quieter layer of personal relationships, trust, and long-standing perspective. In this deeper context, some accounts suggest that emotional distance and careful adjustment can exist even when public roles appear settled. This broader look at royal life shows that long-standing institutions built on tradition often operate on many layers at once. On the surface, public duty can appear calm, united, and well-organized, but behind that image, private relationships are far more complex. They are shaped by history, personal experiences, and individual choices that are not always seen or understood by the public eye in ways that remain hidden from outsiders. Against this backdrop, people often think about private letters that Queen Elizabeth may have left behind. Since she wrote a final message and mentioned Camilla, it would not be seen as gossip, but as part of her steady sense of duty. It would reflect her lifelong focus on keeping the monarchy stable, respectful, and able to continue into the future for generations still to come. Such a message would not be seen as a departure from her beliefs, but as a clear expression of them. It shows a world where every role has defined limits, and where duty to the crown always comes first. It also highlights a long-held royal idea that a person's position is separate from their personal past, and both are guided by service to the monarchy as a lasting institution that endures beyond individual lives and times. This is why a private message connected to Camilla and Queen Elizabeth continues to attract attention, as people seek to understand how public role and private judgment coexist within royal history. Camilla was seen as diligent and consistent in carrying out her royal duties, which some believe earned her the Queen's acknowledgement, even in her final reflections. But was Camilla readily accepted into the royal circle when she first stepped into the spotlight alongside the late Queen's son? Or did she first face rejection before gradually proving her dedication and commitment? Let's find out. From distance to quiet acceptance. Queen Elizabeth's relationship with Camilla has always been more complex than what many people saw from the outside. While later years gave the impression of calm acceptance and public unity, that final image was shaped by a long history filled with caution, tension, and gradual change over time. In the earlier period, especially during the 1990s, the situation surrounding Prince Charles and Camilla was widely discussed and often controversial. At that time, reports and royal commentary suggested that the Queen was deeply uncomfortable with the public attention and emotional strain connected to their relationship. The royal family was already under intense pressure, and this added another layer of difficulty that could not be ignored. Some royal observers have claimed that during those years, the Queen preferred to keep a certain distance from the situation. It was said that she was not eager to be closely connected to the growing public debate and the negative attention that surrounded it. Instead, she focused on protecting the image and stability of the monarchy, which she had spent her entire life supporting. However, as time passed, the tone slowly began to change. The years brought new circumstances, and Camilla's role in the royal family also began to shift. She gradually became more visible in official duties and less involved in public controversy. Her approach was quiet, steady, and consistent, which some believe helped change perceptions within the family. Over time, it has been suggested that the Queen's view softened. While she may not have forgotten the difficulties of the past, she reportedly came to recognize Camilla's commitment to supporting Charles and the stability she brought into his life. Instead of constant public drama, there was a growing sense of calm and routine, which is highly valued in royal life. This long and slow journey from resistance to acceptance is exactly why any mention of a possible final private letter from the Queen carries such strong interest today. It raises the question of whether her private thoughts were more detailed and complex than what the public ever understood. If such a letter truly exists, and if Camilla was mentioned within it, it could suggest that the Queen's feelings were not simply divided into approval or disapproval. Instead, they may have evolved, shaped by duty, experience, and the need to maintain stability within the monarchy. In reality, much of this remains speculation, and only a very small circle would ever know the Queen's private reflections. Still, the idea continues to capture attention because it reflects a deeper truth about royal life. Public appearances often show only the final result of long and complicated personal journeys that remain hidden from view. Beyond the late Queen's reported acceptance of Camilla despite earlier hesitation, could Sophie's account of the Queen's final letter be considered credible? What kind of relationship did Sophie share with the late Queen to have access to such a profound revelation? Now let's dive into why Sophie matters. The power of quiet loyalty. Sophie has never been the kind of person who seeks attention or tries to stand in the spotlight. From the very beginning of her life inside the royal circle, she chose a different path. Instead of chasing fame or public praise, she focused on something far more quiet but powerful: loyalty, patience, and steady support. Over the years, she built a strong reputation not through loud words or public drama, but through consistency. Queen Elizabeth valued that kind of strength deeply. Sophie became someone the Queen could rely on during both formal duties and private family moments. She was present when it mattered, not because she pushed her way into important spaces, but because she had earned a place there through trust and respect. In royal life, attention is easy to gain, but trust is much harder to earn. Many people can stand in front of cameras, but only a few are allowed behind the scenes, where real decisions and honest conversations take place. Sophie belonged to that smaller circle. She was known for keeping things private, respecting boundaries, and never turning personal matters into public stories. This quiet approach made her one of the most stable and dependable figures in the family. While others sometimes found themselves at the center of public debate or media focus, Sophie remained calm and steady. She listened more than she spoke, observed more than she reacted, and supported without needing recognition. Because of this, her presence around Queen Elizabeth held real importance, even when the public did not always notice it. She was often present at key royal events and quiet private gatherings, not as someone seeking attention, but as a trusted figure chosen to stay close to the Queen during moments that truly mattered within the royal circle. This showed deep trust and long-standing personal respect there. When Sophie finally decided to speak, even gently and carefully, people listened closely. Her words were not seen as ordinary remarks. They carried weight, shaped by years of quiet watching and close life within the royal family, making many wonder what deeper truths she might be hinting at. Her perspective felt calm, thoughtful, and quietly revealing to everyone listening. Many people believe that if anyone truly understood the Queen's private thoughts, worries, and inner reflections, Sophie would likely be among that small and trusted group, not because she spoke for the Queen, but because she spent so much time listening, supporting, and quietly standing by her side through the years. In a world where loud voices often dominate, Sophie's quiet strength became her most powerful form of influence, and that is exactly why even her silence has always spoken volumes. Sophie had proven, beyond doubt, to be a reliable member of the royal family, earning the Queen's trust and having access to her final private reflections. But what challenges now face the present monarch in preserving the legacy and honor of his mother's wishes? Will he uphold tradition in interpreting her message? Let's find out. Between legacy and new reign. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, it marked the end of an era that had shaped Britain and the royal family for many decades. For King Charles, her death was not only a moment of deep personal loss, but also the beginning of a very heavy responsibility. He did not just step into the role of king, he stepped into a long story filled with tradition, expectations, and unresolved emotions. With the crown, Charles also inherited more than official duties, ceremonies, and public appearances. He inherited a complicated family history that stretches across generations. Within that history are strong bonds, quiet disagreements, and relationships that have often been carefully managed behind palace doors. Some of these relationships are warm, while others remain sensitive and carefully balanced even today. Among the most delicate parts of this inheritance are the questions that have followed the royal family for years. These are questions that were never fully answered in public, and in some cases were never meant to be answered at all. They involve personal choices, past conflicts, and the challenge of moving forward while still respecting the past. If Queen Elizabeth left behind any private words or final messages, their meaning would naturally carry great weight. Even a short note could be read in many different ways by those closest to the crown. Such a message would not just be about feelings. It could also be seen as guidance for the future direction of the monarchy. This becomes even more significant when thinking about Queen Camilla, whose journey into royal life has long attracted public attention and discussion. Her place within the royal family was not always simple or widely accepted, and over the years, it has been closely observed by both supporters and critics. Because of this, any mention of her in a private royal message would naturally draw interest and reflection. For King Charles, the challenge is not only about leading a nation, but also about managing the emotional balance within his own family. He must remain loyal to his wife, Camilla, who stands beside him as queen consort. At the same time, he carries the memory and legacy of his mother, a monarch who shaped the modern identity of the crown. On top of all this, he must protect and uphold the dignity of the monarchy itself, an institution that depends on stability, unity, and public trust. Finding harmony between personal love, family history, and royal duty is not an easy task. In many ways, this delicate balance may become one of the greatest tests of his reign, shaping how history remembers not just the king, but the man behind the crown. King Charles inherited more than a throne. He also inherited complex responsibilities that go far beyond ceremonies. But could it be difficult for him to uphold his mother's legacy And are there unseen pressures within the royal family that the king must consider before making certain decisions? Now, let's uncover the hidden layers of royal unity. Behind the palace unity image. To the outside world, the royal family has often appeared calm, united, and steady. People see the carefully planned public events, the formal clothing, the polite smiles, and the controlled speeches. Everything looks smooth, as if nothing is ever out of place. This image of unity is part of what the monarchy has always tried to protect, because stability is a key part of its strength. But many people also believe that what is seen in public is only a small part of a much larger and more complicated picture. Behind closed doors, life inside the royal family is often managed with great care. Every word, every decision, and every public appearance is thought through in detail. Nothing is left to chance, because even small moments can carry big meaning. It is believed that there are many different voices within the royal household, each with its own opinions, concerns, and perspectives. However, not all of these voices are heard in public. Some are kept private to avoid confusion or conflict. Others are shared only with a small group of trusted people. In this way, the family works hard to maintain peace and order, even when not everyone agrees. At times, difficult choices may have been made quietly, without public discussion. These decisions are often taken to protect the image of the monarchy and to avoid unnecessary tension. While the public sees unity, the reality may involve careful balancing of different views and emotions. This is why Queen Elizabeth's final private letter has captured so much attention and curiosity around the world. It seems to reveal that she held deeper thoughts and personal reflections that were never fully shared with the public. The letter hints at a quieter, more complex side of her life behind the crown, and beyond public view, it suggests. Camilla's journey into royal life has always been closely watched and widely discussed. Over the years, public opinion about her has shifted, but her place in the royal family has remained a sensitive subject. A private message from the Queen that includes her name would naturally raise questions about how the late monarch truly viewed the changing structure of her family in her final days. It may also suggest that the public story of the royal family, as carefully presented over the years, is only one layer of a much deeper reality. Beneath the formal image of unity and tradition, there could be personal feelings, private guidance, and unspoken truths that shaped important decisions. In the end, what the public sees is only the surface. What lies beneath may be far more human, more complex, and far more revealing than anyone outside the palace walls will ever fully know. The political dynamics within the palace are very different from what the public sees, which is why the letter has attracted attention. But what does it truly reveal about the royal family? Was it a warning, or simply guidance and concern for the monarchy's future? Let's find out. Silent weight of her final words. What makes this story so powerful is that it may not only be about the past, but also about the future of the monarchy. It may also point to the lessons Queen Elizabeth wanted to leave behind, lessons meant to guide the royal family long after her passing. Her reign was shaped not just by ceremony and tradition, but by calm, steady values that quietly guided every choice she made across many years of service to the nation itself. At the center of her leadership were clear and simple values: trust, discipline, and wise judgment. These were not just ideas she spoke about, but guiding rules she lived by each day. They helped keep the monarchy steady through wars, political shifts, and public pressure. She believed the crown could only endure if it was protected by responsibility, care, and thoughtful leadership at every level of society and tradition combined. Always true. Queen Elizabeth's final message is seen by many as carrying the same core values she lived by. It may not be filled with emotion or personal views, but instead offers calm guidance meant to protect unity and strength in the royal family. Because of this, its meaning is not only tied to the past, but also continues to shape the present and future for the royal family's ongoing sense of direction and stability today. That kind of message may be understood as her final reminder of everything she worked hard to protect throughout her life. She always valued stability, deep respect for duty, and strong loyalty to the monarchy above all else. These beliefs shaped every decision she made and guided her reign. Because of this, she became one of the longest-serving and most respected monarchs in history ever known. This is also why the role of individuals close to her, such as Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, becomes so interesting in this discussion. Sophie spent many years observing royal life from within, often staying away from public attention while remaining close to key moments and decisions. Because of this, some believe she may understand the Queen's private thinking more than most people outside the palace. That may also explain why Sophie eventually chose to speak, even in a careful and limited way. In environments where silence is often preferred, speaking out can carry meaning beyond the words themselves. It may reflect a moment when keeping everything quiet is no longer possible, especially if it involves values, memories, or lessons meant to endure. In the end, this story is not just about what was spoken or kept silent. It is about how leadership, memory, and responsibility continue to shape the monarchy long after big changes take place. It reminds us that some truths can stay quiet for many years, yet they do not disappear. When time and events bring them back into focus, they gain new meaning and invite everyone to think again more deeply about what truly matters in leadership itself. So, what do you think about Queen Elizabeth's final letter? Could she have been offering a quiet warning to the entire monarchy? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.